From that quick commercial break. A big thank you to Bless Headman Alomaso for starting the show with us. A big thank you to Oima for reviewing the headlines with us here on Pan-African Television. A special good morning to all our viewers across the length and breadth of the continent, and a big thank you to you for spending your morning with us here on the show. I cannot thank you enough. It's quite exhilarating to wake up every morning and to sit here and to have this very wonderful show with you. You are the reason why we wake up every morning to come and sit here. Now, I do know, and you do know, that a lot of issues have happened throughout last week and this weekend, and those are the issues that we have tabled for our today's conversation. Now, let me quickly run you through them, and then I will introduce my panelists for today's conversation, and then also let you know that the WhatsApp number and the Facebook feed are up, so you can share via Facebook, or you can send us a text message via our WhatsApp and our text line so that we can read your messages here on the show. Morocco earthquake death toll rises above 2,000. Started with 650, now it's 2,000. Wow, that's sad. Bawumia promises to give Mahama Showdown in 2024 while a free Akoto calls for fair play ahead of November 4th. The Ghanaian publisher IGP leaked tape saga. Dampare to appear before committee tomorrow. These are the topics that we have chosen for our conversation. I've been joined in the studios by Honorable Segbefia. Good morning to you, sir. And you look dapper. Well, you said I shouldn't say it, but I've said it on air. And Mr. Owusu, good morning.
Good morning.
I trust you are well. Very well. My name is Kwame Owusu, and I'll be your moderator for today's conversation. Now, let's go to Morocco. And yesterday, I think we were all devastated. It was unexpected. I saw videos of the earthquake, and it was quite, you know, heart-wrenching, you know, to see and to hear the screams and to see the smoke belch out from those buildings which collapsed. I mean, there and then I knew that they were going to suffer casualties, a lot of them for that matter. Let me start with you, Solo, before I come to Honorable.
Quite a good morning to you, and good morning to Honorable and to your cherished viewers. What happened in Morocco was on Friday. Something that we call mysteries in life. As human beings, we can plan our lives, we can project what we will do in the foreseeable future. But there is someone that controls this world. There are certain unforeseen that the lawyers will call force majeure that we cannot do without, and earthquake is one of such things. So far, 2,000 people, I understand, have perished, and more is still counting. It could be more, because we understand they are still trying to clear the debris to know the actual number of people. My only disappointment is that the countries providing aid to Morocco, you hardly see Africans contributing to the aid that is going to Morocco. Is it the case that Africa is that weak that we cannot help ourselves? And that brings to fore why we must unite as a continent. Immediately the issue happened, you hear Qatar, you hear Spain, you hear France, UK coming in. These are not countries that must provide the immediate assistance, but rather it should be from the African Union. And the earlier we went back to the ideals and principles of the AU, the objectives of the AU, to unite and do things together, the better for all of us. It's a sad situation. I'm not happy with it, and I wish them the best of luck. I mean, this is not the first. I understand somewhere in 1960, close to 12,000 people also perished through similar circumstance. It tells us that, like they say in our local palace, when you see someone's beard burning, then you also have to take steps to see how you can prepare. How well are we as Ghanaians? Or as a country, Ghana, should we experience a quarter of this? Kwame, we all know that Makati here, Wager, Accra Central, all these places fall under the fault lines. You hardly hear any drills. You go to our primary schools. Look, in serious and advanced countries like Japan, earthquake issues are taught at the primary level. So when they see any tremor, they know what to do. How many of us, you and I, sitting here, do you have any clue as to how to behave when there is earth tremor? So we don't have to. When you see a country experiencing this, it's a wake-up call for you, it's not too far from us. It can happen. We are not special than those living in Morocco. If you had asked the king of Morocco what was going to happen to their country before the occurrence of this quake, I'm not sure he was going to tell you that they were going to experience earthquake within that shortest possible time. But it has happened. And that is why I believe that as a country, we must make notes from it and then prepare adequately to face some of this. Simple flooding in Accra. See the way NADMO struggles to deal with it. When you remember that Malcolm building or so, when it collapsed here, we needed to go all the way to Israel to go and bring some sniffer dogs to be sniffing. A simple building. We couldn't deal with it here in Ghana. I pray it does not happen, but when it does, I will be ready to deal with it. I wish our brothers in Morocco the best of luck. May it never happen. May it never happen in any of our West African sub-region. Else we will be in deep hole. I'll end my submission.
We'll send our heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families, and it's quite, a tragic moment for, I believe, Africa as a whole. Sir.
Thank you very much, Kwame. Good morning to you once again, and to Solo, and more especially to your cherished viewers and listeners. I think Solomon has said it all. Earthquakes are, we also not just say force majeure, but acts of God. It's another term that is used in legal parlance. And you never see it coming. You just know that certain areas are more prone to these disasters than others, and we have all kinds of gadgets which can tell you that, look, there's a heightened issue, but one, you don't see it coming, and two, you do not know the level to which it is going to go, even if you know it's coming. So it's, for one, a local rap is cha-cha. Yeah. When it arrives, you don't know what is going to really happen. And the one thing about it, which notwithstanding the casualties and the things that happen, it's like for me when I go to the beach and you watch the waves, you see the power of God and you realize that we are but nothing. We only think that we are, but we are but nothing, because when he decides to not even sneeze, clear his throat, all manner of things happen. And you should check yourself. That's how I look at it. 2,000 people who never knew that anything was going to happen are just gone and climbing. Their businesses, their lives, those that are alive are now having to build from scratch. So it is actually not just a wake-up call for preparation, which I agree with entirely, but it's a moment of reflection on how we live our lives and in what perspective. So allow me to be a little bit religious and say you must always prepare. When you wake up in the morning, you thank God that you are alive, and when you go to bed, you pray that he wakes you up the next day. Because there are no guarantees. There are no guarantees. And actually, it is amazing. The first thing that came to my mind when I heard it was Achu.
Yeah.
Christian Achu's mind first, immediately, that's where I went. It was like, oh, whoa, again. So I go with the commiserations to the family, and it's a time when we normally at disasters of we see the world put aside all its differences and come to the aid and rescue. So I'm glad that the president has sent his commiserations to the Moroccan people, and is coming in from all over the world. Assistance has been made available if required, etc., etc. We pray that they are able to get through this. I agree with Solo that maybe we also have to start thinking about how we build, where we build. I've never been comfortable with that hill that we build on going towards Weja. Because even it's not rock, it's it's more sandy stone than, and I know the architects will say, yeah, we can do this and we can reinforce and we can strengthen it. But it's in the earthquake, what we call the apex of the zone. The whole Accra is. So it's just that appears to be the area of April, but the whole of Accra is. And we are also below sea level in Accra.
Yeah, more dangerous, right?
So yeah, so earthquakes tend to also lead sometimes to tidal waves. And if you are below the sea level, we haven't looked at how that can be devastating. You already have a sea line that is encroaching on land. And some people even predict that 50 years from now, Black Star Square will not exist. And even the stadium will be threatened if we do not do anything about the coastal line now. And this came about when we had the encroachment or the tidal wave in the Volta region, and they did the assessment. So we have a lot of work to do, but human beings by nature, and because of our politics, we think 4 years. We don't think we don't think beyond the 4 years. But like you said, Solo, and very important, we should begin to do proper planning and get ourselves out of and minimize. You can't get it, but minimize any such event should it happen. And we thank the Almighty God for keeping it from our shores to date, and we pray that it never comes to our shores, because no matter how much you plan, when it hits a certain level, you can't handle it, period.
Well, you may send your commiserations if you may, and via our Facebook page, and we'll read the messages here on the show. Now, we're coming back home to Ghana, and you do know that on November 4th, the NPP will hold their conference again, well, the final one, to determine who is going to be the presidential candidate for the NPP. It started out nicely. You had the super delegates, conference, which elected some 5 persons. Along the line, Alan Kojo Chemantin decided to pull out for obvious reasons, and he stated them quite clearly in his letter to the media. Subsequently, the office or the headquarters was served with a letter that he intends not to continue with the process because, in his estimation, it was not there was no level of fairness in the process, and therefore he needed the party to do the needful in order that they could address those challenges. We don't know whether or not the party is going to do that, but we will share with you or furnish you with the details in the event that the party decides that is going to deal with all the concerns and the issues raised in the letter written by Alan Kojo Chemantin. Now, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is deemed as the establishment candidate, has been talking tough, and he is saying that he's going to give Mahama showdown. Now, raises 1 or 2 questions. One, that is he certain that he's going to win November 4th? Or he knows that he has won, and therefore he's beginning to position himself in a way that will create the impression that he is the one who's going to contest John Dramani Mahama in the 2024 election. These are questions to which I do not have answers, but I know that my panelists may have some answers to the questions that I've raised here on the show. So, because it is your party, it is important that we start with you first. And I want us to be as candid with the Ghanaian people and the viewers across the continent as possible. What is really happening in your party in respect of this whole exercise being organized by the party to choose its leader come 2024?
Well, Kwame, I think I've always been candid to viewers and listeners across the world. This whole NPP flag bearership race, I call it a charade. I call it a flawed process. And I'm not saying that because my candidate has withdrawn. Mind you, he is not the only person that has withdrawn from the race. Boakye Yakun was the first to withdraw, and he gave legal reasons why he needed to. You cannot be varying rules the guidelines to an election midstream. And so Alan only added to what Mr. Boachejako did. And Alan's own became a topical issue because Alan has the clout. And not to boast here, he is the one that the party rank and file really wants to see or wanted to see as the flag bearer of the party. The destiny of the party has been shortchanged, and the party may suffer the consequence of it thereof. Kwame, we started this whole business of trying to get our flag bearer as far back as May of this year. Now, if you remember, somewhere in 2021, the party issued some code of conduct, ethics, to party executives, government appointees, etc., that no one should align with any particular aspirant. Immediately that guideline was put in place, you had party regional executives, MPs, ministers flouting it with impunity, aligning themselves with the vice president, that he was the one they preferred when nominations had not even been open. So we drew the attention of the National Executive Committee to what was happening, that they should crack the whip. They couldn't. They allowed it to permeate. Remember the famous expression by Chairman when he said it was time for the party to have an ordinary access candidate.
Yes.
You remember the majority chief whip, Dampare, saying it was time for a Muslim. His deputy, Habib, also goes that Muslims have been used and it was their time, or Northerners have been used and that it was their time. So if you have the majority leader, the chief whip, his deputy, that means they have been able to whip parliamentarians to one side. Then you have the president's brother, Ken Oforiatta, during a lecture by Bawumia, endorsing him openly, that he thought he was the right person to succeed Nana Akufo-Addo when he exits. And these were all in 2021 when the party had instituted code of ethics. So these people never respected the party's own rules. We fast-tracked it. We believe that the system will be fair, there will be a level playing field. So we of the Alliance talk never panicked with what they were doing. And you remember in 2022, we organized a Owusu walk, and that was what brought all these problems. Because Mr. Alan Chemate was still at post, and they didn't know the kind of love that those at the grassroots had for him. They discounted it until that Owusu walk, which he was never part of, produced close to 400,000 people on the street of Kumasi. And that shook the foundation of the establishment. So they needed to heighten their strategies so that they can get him out. Going forward, then you had the regional executives becoming coordinators for the vice president. Wun to me is on record to be a coordinator for the vice president. You go to the northern region, you have Samba. You go to Northeast, you have Shushen Nuru, and many other places. That, as if that was not enough, then they started implementing intimidation tactics here and there, to the extent that you remember the famous Ascent North issue, when Alan Chemate was speaking and then vice president came and then his mind had to be taken and so on and so forth. All these things took place. We went into National Council, meeting. There were two issues for determination before the elections. One of it was to determine, 9 out of 10 candidates had applied to be the flag bearer of the NPP. And you know, per our constitution, that when we are more than 5, the only exercise that we have to do is to put the number to 5. So really, what took place on the 26th of August was nothing to do about who was going to place first, second, third. It was just to put the numbers from 10 to 5. And the 9 aspirants petitioned the National Council together with the NEC that, look, this whole exercise was to put the numbers down. So if it was possible, if we could elect National Executive Council at one place, though their number, the delegates involved runs into 6,000 plus, then how can't we do the same exercise at one venue with less than 1,000 delegates? These 9 aspirants who petitioned the National Council, had their petition dismissed in favor of the Vice President's position. That no, he thought it was okay for us to do the elections at 17 different centers. We said it was going to be problematic, logistic-wise, the cost involved, and also transparency and fairness. How they knew what they were doing. Again, the second issue that was meant for discussion or for determination was that if it was the case that we're going to select 5 people, each polling or delegate was mandated to select 5 people at a go. Because we were not looking for who was going to place first, second, or third. Then again, the National Council said no. Each delegate was to elect or select 1 person. Then we asked them, so if you did so and there was a tie, how are you going to handle all this? So the same delegates that congregated would meet again and then sort out the tie. Then we said, let's go for the elections. And before that, you remember what the aide to the Vice President has said, Gideon Boako, that if Alan felt the kitchen was too hot for him, he should go and form his own political party. We have heard all these things. So on election day, rules, guidelines that were put forward for us to guide anyone to ensure free and fair elections, all of it, take from 1 to 4, were flouted. Delegates were not supposed to be camped, they were camped. Those that voted were not supposed to show their ballot, they did. As for money sharing, that one was a free bonto. Intimidation and assault that we needed to prevent took place. You remember the famous agent of Alan Tremantin of East, whose eye is damaged as we speak. And what even annoys some of us is that as we speak, neither the New Patriotic Party nor the Ghana Police Service has been able to issue any statement on that incident. You understand? So if you combine all these and the aftermath of it, after the elections, the kind of things that are coming out, the kind of utterances, for instance, from the Minister of Agric, Brian Champo, that if you felt you were an MPP and you wanted to enjoy from the party, you better withdraw from the race and come and join the else you will be denied any future largesse from the party. Then, and knowing what we know, because there is information that we can put forward. I mean, this is a country very secular, we know ourselves, and what they intend to do on the 4th of November. And if you are Alan Tremantin and you are leading these teaming supporters, then you have 2 decisions to make. Either you would, in spite of the available evidence before you, contest and go and lose, and only to come and complain that, oh, but I knew all these things were set up for me to lose, or you take the better decision, a decision that would affect hundreds or millions of your supporters who would be heartbroken, but hey, a slap inevitably yours, you take it quick so that you can plan ahead. So that was what really, this whole process, the outcome of it is known. I'm very surprised that Akuto is calling for a fair play. There is nothing like fair play in this. The outcome of what is going to take place on the 4th is that the Vice President will be elected. Not that he's popular in the party, not that the MPP members love him. They don't love him. But it is because few people within the establishment, and here I'm talking about the President and the Presidency, together with his ministers, who feel threatened that should the balance of power change in the party, they will be affected, have decided to make the process favor one candidate here, the Vice President. And that is all that have taken place. But you see, I do not want to comment on whether or not who is going to win the MPP election. I'm not interested in it. My interest now really has to do with the statement that Mr. Alan Tremantin issued. In the statement, in the last but 1 paragraph, he made it clear that he has withdrawn from the race and that in the coming weeks he would show the direction or the role that you play in Ghana's politics. And that is for me, my interest. I sign on to Mr. Alan Tremantin not because he's a handsome man. Yes, he's a handsome man. Because he's tall. Because I believed in the vision that he has. Kwame, face it, our politics have become the usual chobo in this country. No strategy, no vision, no plan. And we are made to sign on to things that we ourselves don't even understand. I have sat down with him. I have looked at his vision and the plan he has for this country, so I believe in it. The mere fact that Mr. Alan Chibati has withdrawn from the race does not mean the vision that he had has all of a sudden
diminished.
Again, he said he has withdrawn, but he will give future direction, and that he will consult his family, his well-wishers, and stakeholders or other interest groups.
Along for president campaign team.
Exactly. Now, Kwame, as I sit here, I'm one of his well-wishers. And I can tell you if Mr. Alan Chibati is going to consult me, I will not think for a second to advise that he go as an independent candidate. And I'm going to be with him through and through till the end of this whole game. It's a movie. But you see, if you decide to go as an independent candidate, Kwame, you would have an interesting
to be very interesting.
And you see, people are what do you call it? Thinking it's an arduous task, that how can an independent candidate, if he decides to do so, make any impact in this country? They will be laughing at the wrong side of their mouth. If for nothing at all, our eastern neighbors here, Benin, Yayi born in 2006 when he was contesting as an independent candidate. People thought he was mad until he won that election and made that history.
How did Emmanuel Macron become president of France?
That's the point. Now, even within our own MPP, whoever thought that Louis Siama could win the Formula seat as an independent candidate? Look, in the year 2004 or 8 or so, when Joe Weiss, the current second Speaker of Parliament, went as an independent candidate in Bekwai, people thought he was mad. How were you going to beat Opoko Duse in Bekwai as an independent candidate? Because they thought it was the traditional MPP song, but when the results started coming in or trickling in, they realized that, hey, it is not too much about, the people are not darks that you hate them like that. And it's about message. Election 2024 is about the message of hope that you have for the people of this country. And not just the message, your credibility and character. Whether or not whatever you are saying would be able to achieve. Now, to link it to a showdown with Mahama, if I were the vice president, I'm not going to utter such words. You know why? Already there is confusion between Mampusis and Gonjes. If you take the literal meaning of showdown and you don't take it, already it will begin to fuel perception that, hey, Mampusis and Gonjes are going to fight again. He shouldn't be trivializing some of these issues. It's a serious matter, and the earlier he realized that some of these utterances can escalate and stop this sloganeering nonsense, the better for all of us. Because we need peace. I have said it on several platforms since last week that 2024 elections, if you don't take care, there will be a lot of bloodbath. And I'm saying it with all the seriousness because, you see, people take things on the surface. And the direction the two political parties are taking this country, that is what frightens me. Already there is confusion between Mampusis and Kusasis, right? Mampusis and Gonjes. Go to the northern region and study the dynamics there. And if you have a third eye, nobody will tell you that you push Mr. Alan Chibati to be the buffer. So that when the two leading political parties are beating themselves, assaulting themselves, there will be a refuge in Mr. Alan Chibati come 2024. So it's not lost. I will entreat the teeming millions of supporters who have been calling and crying. Look, Kwame, I never knew Mr. Alan Chibati's, the love for Mr. Alan Chibati transcended beyond my imagination.
Yeah, Mr. Pratt even said that some lady came to his office and started crying.
Kwame, you see, since the day the release came out, I had to be, what do you call it? What's the name? Those buffer. Consoling at any given minute. There were about 20 people calling. You pick them, you beg them, look, I have only 10 minutes for you.
Because they are...
You need to. I didn't know that. And it tells you his gravitas. Ever since he pulled out of the race, the NPP itself has not been able to do a balloting. They can pretend as though nothing is wrong, but they know, and they know that they have touched the heart and soul of the party. And you can pretend all you can, but if, like that Lumba said, if thousands hate you, this time it's not thousands, millions love you, and we are ready to go down with them till the day the last breath in us vanishes. So,
do you think Alan will get the support of all the other leading members of the party who appear not to be aligned with the policy direction of Akufo-Addo and his people?
I think anybody that wishes the country will have to align with Alan. And here we are talking to those that have gone into political oblivion, those that are sitting on the fence, those in academia, those in interest groups like nurses. The country has been built. Kwame, one of the policies under his great transformational plan is to end politics of divisiveness. I have never liked the idea that when there is a change of political party, all of a sudden a group of people become poor and others become rich. It doesn't make sense. You understand? Because you cannot convince me a minute that all the sensible human resources you have in this country are concentrated in one political party. There are various places. So if you're a good leader, like Lee Kuan Yew said, meritocracy must be your focus. You look at the system. This job that we are looking for someone to fill, who amongst them can do it better? Because the more you can do it better, it will save all of us the trouble of having to endure pain. You understand? So Mr. Lanchamantin's whole strategy has been to elicit the best talents in this country for nation development. And that is why he, as an independent candidate, you know, when you are an independent candidate, you don't go to parliament with your parliamentarians. He winning, he can then make the best choices from both NDC and NPP and go to academia, go to private sector, bring all these people on board. And we build Ghana. And why should we miss this opportunity? Nobody must miss this. It's the greatest opportunity that can befall us as a country. But like I said, he has not made the announcement. And I will plead with him that he does so. And when he does so, voices of reason, conscience will see the need to align with him come 2024. Not
to discredit you, Solo, in any way, but this is one of your best submissions ever.
Really?
Yes. You've communicated. Communication is about, and I've listened.
Okay.
And I find sense in a lot of the things that you've said. You're still watching Good Morning Africa live on Pan-African television, and I urge you to communicate like this without aggression. Well, Honorable Alex Segbefia, what sayest thou? Yes, sir.
I told Solo.
Have you told him
that I have small ulcer? You remember? You have got tumor in your brain. Think about your tumor and don't worry about my ulcer. Giddy, our primaries, our this NDC. Are we seeing it? Are we seeing it unfold before our very eyes? MPP is disintegrating. That's the bottom line. MPP is disintegrating because of stubbornness, ego. Why? Let it be a fair election process. Everybody who is complaining bitterly. And it's not the first time it happened to Alan Jamanti in terms of how things have gone.
Yeah.
You know, at one point he resigned for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And if you know the history of the New Patriotic Party, especially from 79, you will know that there's a move away from an unwritten convention.
Yeah.
And that is what is sparking all this. Why? At least, even if you let the ground be fair. So they'll beat you before they beat us. Your people, let me tell you, the violence you are talking about, but they are beating you. They are beating you. Then what about us? The same things, you see, God works in mysterious ways indeed. All the things NDC has been complaining about, now it's manifesting in the house, in their house. So were we lying? Were we not speaking truth when we said the activities that went on in the election of 2020 was intimidation, violence? We are seeing it now even. For 3.5 years, close to 4, we have never done a voters registration. Why won't you just open the register in all polling stations so that all these youth who are in the areas will also know where they are going to vote?
Yep.
They will go to their polling station, register, and know that when the voting time comes, this is where I'll go. You said district office, and district office is 20 miles, 40 miles from where you vote. On the day, people are going to be confused. Where is their, you say, oh, we do exhibition. Now people must travel again to come and see where they are going to vote. What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? Why must it be win at all costs? And we are seeing it, win at all costs is playing in their house. Whatever anybody says, Bawumia must win. That is how the game is now. Bawumia is our candidate. We have chosen him. So whether you are with us, you are not with us, so you will deal with you. That's what is happening. It is sad, and it's not good for our country. The new patriotic party, as leaders on holding the mantle of power, have been an absolute failure and a disgrace. That's the take on it. Absolute failure and a disgrace. Why? Look, if Bawumia is going to win, and you have so much faith in him, as having done so well in Ghana, and done so well for the party, he doesn't even have to campaign. Because you are in power, you are the vice president. You don't need to campaign. Your works and your deeds will speak for itself. Why all this? Why? And he's right. All the statements that have been made by leading members from parliament, from ministerial, have always been geared towards this Bawumia card. So I'm not in any way surprised. In fact, Alan has been very sharp in his calculation, because really there were those who were pushing him to pull out even before the superdelegates. But he would not have had a basis to do it, even though they had all the info as to what was going to happen beforehand. We in the opposition even knew it. How much more they in their camp. Now it has happened, and the man says, as of this game you are playing, I won't take part. Listen, I mean, I'm so interested. Why? The new word in Ghana is showdown. Showdown is the new word. So Kennedy uses it, so now I think Bawumia has used it to refer it now to make it a contest between him. So he likes the word, eh? But does he like it when it comes from what's it called? Kennedy? Because Kennedy is the one who has made showdown. And he's saying to the president, I'll give you a showdown. Look, MPP have only one way of winning this election, and that is to rig it. When we told Ghanaians that 2020 was rigged, you hear people say, oh, this is me, I'm clear in my mind. The results, at one point, we had 142 seats. All of a sudden, gunshots, this, intimidation, snatch, we were now 137, with one independent. We have let it go. Up to today, nobody has explained the figures. The referee hasn't explained the figures. Because I cannot go into election have a certain number of votes at a certain point, and when another one is added, my votes reduce. It's not logical. It doesn't make sense. So we want clarity. That one too, we were denied. But we have taken it. We will not take it in 2024. We will also cry now for a free and fair election, because if your own people are withdrawing from your own race, then our matter is, we are in difficulty. And that is what makes me cringe. That is what makes me fearful. Because even with their own, they have no scruples. Then how much more we? When a person knows how to kill a cow, a chicken becomes small feed.
That's deep.
You understand?
That's deep.
A chicken becomes small feed. So they are dealing with their own, the ones who they love and they care about, they are dealing with how much more we in NDC. So NDC, wake up. It's a serious wake-up call. No complacency. Don't say that, oh, because they are this. They have no intention of a free and fair election, because even in their internal one, they are not doing free and fair. How are they going to come and do free and fair for us? It won't happen. It will not happen. So wake up and smell the coffee. It's as simple as that. So I started off by a song. I was teasing my brother indirectly, but I don't want anyone to sit down and think that it is over because of MPP problems, because MPP hasn't performed, because you're not dealing with people who are coming to this election with an idea that they have a record or whatever. They are coming to play with figures, period. And let us all understand it. And that is my take on the situation with Alan. As to whether Alan finally decides to go independent or not, we live to see. Another factor, we really don't care who comes. Bawumia, Alan, Akoto, Kennedy, NDC is poised to win one of the most significant elections of Ghana's history in 2024. But we must shine our eyes and we must count our vote, because Ghanaians are ready to vote for us. All they tell us is, will you count it? That's what they tell us. Will you be assured that you will count that vote? And we are saying, we will count the votes. So go out now, as this is happening. All those who are 18, 10, 18, go out and register. That is our message. Go and get the voter's ID card. Join the queues. Take the transport. Talk to us if you need help. Let us get everybody to register. Because our view is that the government knows that the youth are not happy with them. So they do not want them to register and vote. So they will do everything to stifle the votes. And it's not even in any one region, it's nationwide. So this whole voter registration, they are not enthused by it. So the less people who register, the better. So we are saying, if they want to still go about this charade and do it all, everybody, please find a way. Go and get your voter's ID card so that you can have a say in who runs our country in 2024. I rest my case.
Brilliant submission. And one thing that actually, today's submissions are superb. You know, one of the things that you said, and I think it's quite significant, is the mention of complacency. And I've had the opportunity of having, you know, off the record conversations with certain people in your party, and I get the sense of that complacency that you are referring to. It's as though, you know, the presumption is that, oh, it is finished, we've won, 2024, it's a given. And so people are actually even, instead of working to secure the victory for your party, they are there working to secure themselves positions, even in opposition. And I need you to reiterate that, because people ought to hear.
May I say
reiterate? No, it's important.
That is what is going to be.
It is important. Complacency. Complacency. Complacency.
We haven't won the election, no matter how badly MPP is performing. If you are going to count proper votes, then you have a case. But history has taught us that there is not going to be counting of proper. Even Chairman, look what has happened. I mean, Alan, but how can they do this to Alan? Kennedy, who's your one in the right? Kennedy himself opened mouth. Do you know how you won election? What does that mean? He told MPP, do you know how you won election? So in effect, there is a machine that works to ensure that this thing happens. And we are saying, if they are doing it to their own, those in the engine room, then what happened? So we must really wake up. It's about numbers and how they play. If you go there thinking that because they have done so badly, we are IMF, we don't have any money, we will start laughing from the wrong side of our mouth, or in this case, crying, because they have no intention of handing over power. The president has already told us that he's handing over to an MPP person. What kind of a statement is that? What kind of a statement? Who was it, an MPP person that handed over to him? So you must have an open mind as to what can happen. But if you have made up your mind already, then everybody must sit up. And I'm praying against that, everything that, look, it should be so overwhelming. That's why I want everybody to come out and vote. And so overwhelming that this violence that is in the background will disappear. Because everybody will realize that it's not worth your while. Because they have lost. End of story. That is the way to prevent it. But if everybody is standing in their corner, look, by September next year, the writing should be on the wall. Civil society, churches, everybody should come up and say, we need a change. Good. And we are not going to take this. So that everybody understands that, look, the country is in a crisis. And we need change to even stabilize, just to be able to stand where we are, let alone to move forward. But anything other than change, Bawumia is continuity for the MPP. And if this is the continuity, let him come. We will play everything back. Ghanaians, wake up.
Let them come. Anyway, what an old man sees sitting down, a young man, even if he climbs the highest Iroko tree, will not be able to see. And went to the wise is in Boko.
No, it's in Anyako.
Peter Adams says, good morning to you, KOD. In fact, I have never imagined that Mr. Owusu, Solomon Owusu, can be this articulate. For once, I've fallen for him. Unlike in the past, when I saw him as a boring person. My warmest regards to your panelists. Nonetheless, especially Honorable Segbefia, Peter Adams, Malshegu in Saganarigo municipality in the northern region. Senior Solo is only emphasizing what we already know the MPP to be. I wonder how he intends to defend his party going forward after all he has said today. Francis Adingo says, good morning to you, the good people of Ghana, and special one to my NDC family. KOD, what is Bawumia saying? This man has no respect for Ghanaians at all. We vote on competence, not populism. We vote for prudent managers of our economy, not mismanagement. We vote for men with integrity, not corrupt men. The Ghanaian is wise now, and we have moved on after the deceit and lies in 2016. Arise, Ghana, and let's rescue this country. This one is from Adingo. Ibrahim Boss says, hi, good morning to you. I'm watching you live from Hillsborough, New Jersey. Keep it up. Thank you. Issa Abdul Jalil, please, Mr. Solo, should please avoid of talking about conflict between the tribes when the showdown by Bawumia does not literally mean a thing relating to conflict. You should please not bring people's minds to think of something of that nature. Well, you also don't know what is in the mind of Dr. Bawumia, my brother. Timothy said Bawumia should give Kennedy a complex war in Japan a showdown first. He has collapsed the economy, and those who took us to the IMF cannot be part of our future plans. Johnny Kujo says, good morning. To be honest with you, Solomon is one of Alan's supporters who did not help his cause. Their strategy was so archaic, not strategic. Alan should not have allowed President Kufuor to lead the party in 2017 when he had the opportunity to beat him in the second round. So they should give us a break. His political career, in your estimation, has come to an end. Hatiana says, good morning to you, Kwame Ogede. Watching you live from Eastbourne, UK. Very good submissions from your panelists. Kingston Bisnab Asimiga, watching you live from New York City. Great TV show. Son Gau, good morning. Watching you live from Tefle in the Volta region. I always get Vincent Akila says we are all for NDC. The messages are pouring in. But I think it's important to stay here small, the Bawumia issue, because we need to understand the dynamics going into 2024. Dampare's issue is important, we'll come there. But let's understand the dynamics of the 2024 elections. And Honorable, I'm starting with you on this one, the dynamics. People have said that the NDC has not demonstrated quite convincingly beyond the economic labyrinth in which we find ourselves, which is obviously axiomatic to all Ghanaians. The kind of message that the NDC, or the kind of message of hope, and so I mentioned it, and I nodded my head when you used the word hope, because it appears Ghanaians have lost hope. But the hope that we are looking for, is it with the NDC? And how would you convince the teeming young people in this country who have lost hope, who have even on countless number of occasions said that they don't even believe in politicians anymore? So most of them are saying they are not going to vote. Those who are saying they are going to vote, they don't even know who they are going to vote for, on account of the fact that President Mahama has been a president of this country before, and he was booted out, which presupposes that the Ghanaian people did not like him. Your 2020 manifesto was rejected, for which reason, whether it was rigged or otherwise, Akufo-Addo is still the president of this country. What is, and somebody who perhaps was a student in final year in 2020 is no longer a student in the SSS. The person perhaps is in the university. So whatever they desired at the time has changed. What is the message of hope that the NDC is bringing to forestall some level of confidence in the Ghanaian people going into 2024 election? We have less than 16 months.
Everybody is pushing us to come out with a message. In a period when you have a group of people who are devoid of ideas, what political strategy is that? Historically, they don't have any ideas. Why is it that Alan is relying on a message? And a lot is being said about his message by his supporters. It's because it is an admission that there's actually no plan and no message at the moment by the New Patriotic Party and the government of Akufo-Addo. And they are clutching. John Mahama has said, the ex-gratia process, I'm not happy with it. I'm going to do something about it. We will not give ex-gratia like it was. Nana Addo has just come out and said, we've done emolument committee. I hope that their money they are going to give is less and they look at it closely, etc. Why was it necessary to even comment? Because John Mahama has commented. So anything we say or do, they must latch on and have a comment or say something about it. We are not going to give them. We've said enough. John Mahama has given some ideas as to how he sees the future he's coming through. Then this is a period of comparison as we go. It's not for me, it's not a period of messaging. You give a few messages what you want to do, but why? You have a government that is in its third year. We haven't even gotten to the fourth year. They are in charge of affairs. We have a tacit admission indirectly by the president when he said, well, a new leader will fix this thing. He's hoping for a new leader. So it is a tacit admission that I do not have the wherewithal at this stage to solve your problems. I'm just waiting for a new leader to come and do so. And you want to give him ideas to try and fix the problem. He's still in charge. He's the one who should be saying, this is where we are, this is what we... He's still in charge. When the time is right, it won't take us 2 months, 3 months maximum to tell our message and to sync. But we don't have to say everything now. Our teams are working. Why should we? We are not in government. You are in government. You have told people that you were going to do A, B, C, D. So let us now compare your promises against what is happening in Ghana. When we tell you incompetence, you say Russia, Ukraine, or COVID. Anything we say Russia, Ukraine, COVID. So we'll do the comparison now and let people know how abysmal the performance is, juxtaposed against their promises. And then when we are ready, not only will we outdoor our manifesto, we will come out with plans and policies. And we are going to be as realistic as possible Because what we are inheriting is a mess. Let nobody think that somebody will come and say we will do this, we will do that, when actually we have a mess on our hands. The country is not working. Everybody knows this.
How would you fix that mess in 4 years?
We will tell you, not today, but we will tell you. And we know we can fix it. If not, so we won't bother to come. We will fix it. We have fixed things before. Doomsaw, you used it to campaign. Who fixed Doomsaw? We fixed it. We fixed it. Chairman is supposed to confirm that it was under Mahama. But the problem existed for close to 15, 20 years. We were relying on hydro. And hydro was not, once you have the raining pattern, the years that the raining pattern will drop, you are in trouble completely. It happened to Kufuor, it happened to Mills. Mahama decided this shouldn't happen, we will fix it. It took us how long? 2.5, 3 years. We fixed it. It cost us. We said we will look at our macroeconomic issues. So once we have put our plan together, we won't borrow money from the Bank of Ghana again. In the last year, 2016, when we go for it, we didn't take 1 cedi from Bank of Ghana. Today, what is the debt we have with Bank of Ghana? So what policy, what are people hoping to hear? We have demonstrated, and we'll do the comparison as we go, that when we say we do, we do. And when we're going to build, we build. And when we say that this is going to happen, it happens.
One of the things that people...
But that's what we do now.
Yes, one of the things that people have said the NDC doesn't do, even though it's a social democratic party,
yes,
is that it doesn't create policies which identifies with the ordinary person on the street. Because if you build the airport,
yes,
who are the people who use the airport? So,
you know,
clearly, it is divorced from the person who sells dog chains on the street.
There is a raft of social interventions that the government of NDC took. Today is not the day. I'll sit with you.
We need to have that conversation.
That conversation must be held.
It's
because
important.
Even the social interventions which are being accredited to the MPP, it is not the intervention that matters. It's the implementation.
Yes.
I have always said, I don't have a problem with MPP ideas sometimes when they put it forward. I don't have. But their implementation with their capitalist mindset is what, for me, kills it. School feeding program. Fantastic. You come with the idea. And then you put it in the schools where your children are going to, the rich schools, and leave the poor schools out. To the extent that the donors who were backing us pulled out. Is that a policy that we should go and be talking about? How was it implemented? So when NDC government came in, we couldn't take it back from where it was. So we now had to expand it beyond what it was. Now, that is a social intervention. The idea was good. It was badly implemented. There are many a raft of places like that. So I don't want to spend all our time on it, but as for the message and the solution to our problem, we have it.
The producers, I'm sure, will liaise with Amapra so that we can get you on the couch to come and tell Ghanaians what the alternative is, because it's important that we know. And again, let me reiterate that whether we like it or not, with all the social interventions that you claim the NDC had done, the NDC was still booted out in 2016. But that tells you something. No, that, I mean,
for me, the power of media and propaganda is key.
Yeah, but this is
communication. You just commended him for communicating.
Absolutely.
And yes, as for that, I will stand up anywhere and say that we never communicated what we did properly. We did it. If we had communicated what we did properly, we would not be in opposition.
Very well.
And we just didn't tell Ghanaians for it to sink. And then we rather allowed our opponents to go on this propaganda drive and promise things that were impossible. And yet we couldn't explain to Ghanaians that we just say, but if they are talking, they know that they can't do this. It's not possible. Yet it sank into the psyche because of the nature of the communication. So for me, I've always said that communication is the bedrock of any, what's it called? Campaign process.
Why were you not able to communicate properly to the Ghanaian people?
There are a myriad of reasons, but let's just say we've held our hands. Again,
I'll plead with the producers to liaise with us.
Yes.
You need to have you on the show.
The way we are dealing with communication now,
yep,
the team, the way it puts together, you will see that a lot of it is now, a lot of statistics are coming out. We are dealing with stats. We are relating the statistics to the way, a manner in which people are living. And for that, I give commendation also to Sami Jemfi, because he and Kakra Samoa work very well as a team. And then they have a raft of soldiers behind. Research is key. And we have a solid research department. I'm talking to you will be ready. Don't worry. We will be ready. Look, don't fear. As for this election, what? Okay,
Honorable Segbefia is indicating to us that, the party is formidable going into 2024 elections. Question really has also been whether or not the agenda is always set for the NDC to respond, and the NDC is not leading the conversation. This is something that we must also, look at. But I'll allow Solo, because it appears that the NDC waits when there's an issue, then they comment on it. And, sometimes they pass certain comments, it kills. Like, for instance, in my estimation, what President Mahama said about the judiciary, in my estimation, was irrelevant. Because you have an issue with respect of IGP's removal, which was rife, and people were talking about it. Then you go and make... Anyway, let me just leave it. Let me just leave it.
I want to raise it.
No, but it's important that I raise it.
Everybody you meet has a decision, a desire, what they want to hear or what they don't want to hear. But to everybody, something is important or not important. At the moment, what is our origin issue? We have a very serious exercise called the voters register. People are supposed to register. And then you have the Bank of Ghana demo. Also, we are looking at this thing. They are twin things, but they are all appearing almost simultaneously. So if you don't manage it well, somebody says, oh, this is more important than this one. Hey, all of them are equally important.
Granted.
And if I was a betting man, the registration is more important.
Yes.
So that is where the focus should be. And somebody says, no.
Absolutely.
If you don't do demonstration, you are people who should have done it. For me, the people who are going to vote are the most important.
Brilliant.
But you will have an argument with a lot of our people now. Oh, no. You people, the demonstration is more important. We haven't taken our eye off the demonstration. But our focus has to be on making sure that people register. Because when you go and do the demo and they are doing fun and games at the registration center, you will not get the vote who are supposed to.
Scale of preference.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I agree with you.
So I'm just saying that everybody has what they think we should be doing, but we are in leadership and we have to do what we need to do to win.
I agree.
That's our focus.
And
but we don't minimize.
And your flag bearer must also align, because you can't be communicating something and then the party will be communicating something and it will mar the whole exercise and the whole process. I don't know who advises the flag bearer of your party, and it's important. It's important. I've stated this and I'll state it again. Whenever I get an opportunity, I'll state it. Anyway,
so who advises our president?
I don't know. That's why. But the reason why, because you see, if you look at the political terrain, you realize that President Mahama has zoned out.
No,
President Mahama is out. He's zoned out.
No, he's not zoned out.
Well, I'm telling you,
when he makes his statements,
he's zoned out. But why would he come and admit that the economy is
I am so happy.
Why would he come and admit
that
he's zoned out? The man is zoned out.
Look, people are concerned about us coming back. So everybody is critiquing every single thing.
No,
and I'm happy.
I'm concerned
because
that
it means that there's a real desire to ensure that NDC comes back.
You are the largest opposition party.
We have heard you.
You are the largest opposition party.
We have heard you.
Yes, you are the largest opposition party. So it is important.
We are commending you. We just say, look, don't for 1 minute think that we are not hearing. We always have to look at the priorities.
Yeah.
So I'm clear in my mind.
Yes.
We are hearing you.
Yes.
And we will take, anytime we get the criticism, we take it on board and we go
You are different. The president must also align with the communication strategy of your party. For me, that is also important. The presidential candidate of your party must always align with the communication strategy of the party. The party cannot be communicating one thing and then the flag bearer will be communicating another thing. What is the vision? What is the direction of the party in terms of communicating to the Ghanaian people going into 2024 election? That's more important. What you have said is the most important in my estimation, and I agree with you, that getting people to register is the surest bet for you going into 2024. Whether or not you are going to win is dependent on the people that you get to register. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you come and you say that, oh, we will change judges and our people must also to balance what are you communicating? What are you telling the Ghanaian people? That you are coming to do that which you are criticizing? That for me is a problem. And we must look at it with the greatest of respect to you, Honorable Segbefia. But let me read a few messages. Please, Honorable Segbefia and Solo have spoken very well. But please tell Honorable that there's diasporan unity something. I don't know what it means.
It's not an issue.
Okay.
People have decided to make it an issue.
Yeah.
And there's no issue. And
this same person sent a message the last time you were here.
You see,
he said that you just
so one person is making a comment about diaspora. What is happening in the diaspora? Do you have the time to discuss that now?
Again, one-on-one. The only reason there's no coup yet is the hope Ghanaians have in Mahama and the NDC. Ridwan Mohammed said, good morning to KOD. To sum up Solomon's grievances, it is clear that the NPP is not only undemocratic, but a dangerous organization being led by tyrants and kakistocrats. I am Ridwan Mohammed. I have listened to Solomon Owusu on this platform many times, and I think he mean well for Ghanaians and not for any political party. Clixon Chuk says, honestly, I'm disappointed in Honorable's response with regards to the message to Ghanaians. Consistency is key in politicking, and one way to win people's heart is through your message of consistency. They should be telling Ghanaians their plans, and when the party refuses to implement the ideas, then Ghanaians will know. And if they implement your ideas, it also benefits Ghanaians.
We don't disagree.
Yeah.
What he disagrees on is the timing. That's why we disagree. You want it now, and I'm saying that there's no need to go into it now.
Okay.
It's President Mahama has outlined some changes which you will carry. But we don't have to come out with our manifesto 14 months or tell what we are going 14 months to an election. Let me
plead with the producers. I will extend today's conversation. It's important. So please, give me extra maybe 15 minutes. Musa Abatua says judiciary is the final arbiter of dispute. He disagrees with me. But if the masses lose confidence in the court and the end result is disastrous. It's only in Ghana where Chief Justice has sole prerogative to grant injunctions and appeal cases. If he or she decides, for whatever reasons, to be incapacitated, the court system is halted. That gives easy avenue to misbehave. Well, I don't know what you are talking about, but clearly, anyway. So, Caroline White says, so do you expect the NDC to keep those corrupt judges when you see, what's your definition of corrupt? What's your proof? You just can't simply just put things out there. What is your definition of corruption? Why do you say people are corrupt? You get what I'm saying? I mean, when you go to court and you win the matter, that one nobody is corrupt. But when you lose, somebody is corrupt. So we need to be very careful and minded how we say these things. The democracy is sustained by reason of the existence of some of these institutions. The judiciary, the executive, the legislature. They may not be perfect, but you cannot put them together and say that they are corrupt. They cannot be perfect. They cannot be perfect. It cannot be perfect. It's a human institution. We all make I mean, even the person who sent the message in his home, is he perfect? Anyway, so let me come to you and pick your mind on this one. And then, please go ahead.
When they say the judiciary is corrupt, for instance, the Supreme Court judges, remember every Supreme Court judge goes through parliamentary vetting. Recently, we heard that one Justice Eric Gawu was supposed to be an NPP member. But that person went through parliamentary vetting. He was approved. And he found his way to...
Absolutely.
So when you come and tell us that the court has been packed, I thought, like you were saying, John Mahama should do better. I don't want to blame Honorable this morning, because if you are a leader, you lead and make your followers' life very easy. And that is one of the reasons why I would forever be grateful to Mr. Dampare. You know why? When he decided to express his intention to be the leader of the NPP, the first thing he did was to put up his vision. So anytime I go onto any platform, my business is to speak to that vision, because the vision has been given to me. If I don't believe in it, then I don't have to follow him.
I agree.
As we speak, and you ask the right question, what is the message of the National Democratic Congress? What Honorable is telling us this morning is that they have good messages, but they wait till this government fails, and when they come, then they come and implement their programs and policies. That is the understanding I'm getting from.
That's your understanding?
Yes.
Okay.
No, we don't have to wait. You have already failed.
So it's like a reserve player sitting on the bench
and praying for
an injury to
happen.
Remember that whether or not in an unlikely event they'll come to power, their success depends on how well this government operates. If we come and we are already down there, by the time you bring us to the plateau, you would have struggled. In any case, Kwame, that's what I'm saying. 2024 election is going to be one of the interesting elections because official campaign has not started, and by that I mean the MPP and NDC, and whether or not Mr. Alan Chomante will go in as an independent candidate, which I strongly believe he has to do. Because when you pick the ballot paper, you see faces. When Mr. Alan Chomante's picture is there, you see John Dramani Mahama, you see Bawumia, and you see Alan Chomante.
Kennedy won't be angry with this statement.
But Kennedy, I mean, it's a fixed process, it's a rigged process. You just add up to the numbers. Bawumia will definitely emerge as the winner of the elections. So, as a political party called the NDC, and any platform that I've seen, their complacency levels is incredible. As though the Ghanaian is going to vote because the NPP has challenges today. Yeah. If the NPP has failed today, according to them, what are you bringing or what are you coming to do differently to make their lives better? And for me, gradually our politics will move from the usual choboy to issues.
I agree.
What are you bringing on board? You understand? You are claiming you would come and deal with the issue of unemployment. How are you going to do that? I have heard a couple of NDC communicators say there is something called the big push. I asked them, what is the big push? So, former president has promised 10 billion. Where is he going to get that 10 billion? We need to know. Because remember, there was a Hope City that was launched somewhere in Wage area. Yeah. The same 10 billion by former President John Mahama. It didn't see fruition. So it is not a matter of coming to say something and then just get away with it. We have gone past that stage. You understand? What is your policy on education? How do you intend to deal with the problems there? The health sector. How do you see, these are, once the NDC is able to bring some of these issues out, then our politics move from the usual noise to dealing with the issues. And this brings down the temperature. You understand? Look, the last time I was on the radio with the NDC communicator, the host asked him a simple question. So, what are you bringing? The gentleman really struggled. And I told the host that I just signaled the host, don't put him on the spot like that. It is not his fault. And mind you, we always talk about political party. The running or the governance of the state depends largely on the president. Because the final decision at the cabinet level, everything is advisory. The final decision depends on the president of the day. And that is why when you are voting for a leader, you must know which of the leaders has the ability to make that sound judgment. You understand? If you tell us that, for instance, you are going to deal with the issue of Article 71, right away, as a citizen, I will not take you serious. Because this is an entrenched provision in our constitution. So you would need parliamentary and a referendum. So how are you going to deal with it in the shortest possible time? Right away, I know you want to say something just to move the emotions of people to get votes. And we would expose it in the future. So we cannot continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. I believe the time is right for the NDC to come out with their own messages, the vision they have for this country, so that within a year and some months, it can be interrogated by the good people of this country. The more they decide to hide the so-called vision, the more it tells me that there is, first of all, no vision or there is no plan or message available. Because remember the last time the former president had an opportunity at UPSC auditorium. That was when he said we must be doing what we call domestication. Mr. Lattis, that we must be eating gobe. And yet, how do we encourage the good people of this country to concentrate on eating gobe rather than your usual foreign cuisines?
Okay.
These are all part of
Let me read few messages. We end with the final issue. People, again, when you raise issues, they insult you. But I will still read your messages for you. If you want your children to see that you are insulting them. Kristen Bisnab Asimiga says, evidence-based, no JDM, no Jandam, NDC, whatever. NDC is very honest political party. Then Fuleratu, Ubusi, Sufian, I hope I got your name right. Clearly, you don't think for Mahama, so be guided.
You see?
Matthew Paddy says NDC built hospitals, schools, chip compounds, cocoa roads, and many other developments. That was in advantage of the poor, not only airports. KOD, please rephrase your comments. Monday William Jig says, Mr. Kwame Owusu, you are behaving like you know more than everyone in this country. If you have agenda in politics, you are making a big mistake.
You have problems with the NDC.
Senior Abraham says, I don't think Honorable Alex really understood your question. I listened to NDC communicators on radio, and all they talk about is JDM built another 3, UGMC, Bank of Ghana Hospital, and E-Blocks. Did they sleep? I have always maintained that Dr. Bawumia's integrity and credibility has been solved by President Akufo-Addo, failed family and friends government. Under the so-called economic messiah, we saw our economy broken beyond repairs under his watch. We saw the cedi drop drastically, resulting into the destruction of businesses in the country and rendering many jobless. Apart from his incompetence relating to economic mismanagement, he has also proven to be a politician who peddles on truth in almost all his campaign policies. How can we take such a person serious? Dr. Bawumia is certainly not a match for JDM. Caroline White says, so you expect the NDC to keep those corrupt judges when they come into power?
I think you have read this message before.
I've read it. And good morning, KOD. Why is Solo and the MPP asking for the vision of JM when they couldn't finish to implement the rest of the policies? E-Blocks, hospitals,
want to take over. So where is your
KOD, you are live now on YouTube. Please advertise it now. Okay, right. So now we are live on YouTube, so I'm advertising now. KOD, you are in a hurry. Be patient, and you will soon see the vision of JM in the coming days. Well, thank you very much. Astolo, he should show one university MPP has built. Kabore Joshua sent in this message. Well, I'm only a messenger, and I am messaging.
Shall shoot the message.
All right. I think my time is up. My producers are already on my neck.
Okay.
Can we get 10 minutes? Yes, thank you. Let's discuss the IGP leaked tape. And Honorable Segbefia, respectfully, let me start with you on this one.
Well, I'm at a loss. Well, not at a loss. I understand why, but I think that we shouldn't lose focus of what's brought us here in the first place. My position is that the biggest issue is the basis for which someone decides that an IGP should not be in place. And that reason given on tape was that that person believes that the MPP cannot win an election with the IGP. That for me is the basis of it. Now you have periphery things as to whether you have a corrupt IGP or an IGP who has done this or is not fit to lead, which is dovetailing. It's almost of a situation where you are now in a hole, and therefore you are throwing stones to try and make sure that somebody also drops into the hole with you. You understand what I'm saying? But you are in the hole already. So I will throw the stones, and then the person will be hit and he will slip and fall into the hole with me. When actually you are taken away from why you are in the hole in the first place. And so I don't want you to sideline. By all means, if you have corrupt public officials anywhere, or things are not being right, there's a process of complaint or whatever. But we shouldn't get sidelined into, I said this because I don't. The complaint, if the tape was saying, remove IGP because I don't like IGP, IGP is doing wrong things, blah, 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 then you have a case to deal with. Yeah. That's not what we are on. We are saying that the tape is saying, remove him because if you don't remove him, we cannot win election. Jai. That, for me, is a big problem. And that, nothing should sideline us from that particular issue. So, even the interdictions that were done, I hear that the interdiction, look, the IGP had the power to do it on his own. Yep. He didn't exercise it. He rather took it to the police council, of which Bawumia chaired, and there was a meeting right into the late evening. And it was the police council that took the decision to interdict. Now, for whatever reason, they have decided that they are suspending it or withdrawing it or whatever. I think some more and better explanation should be given as to why. Because it's only an interdiction. Why? Do people feel that they have gagged them Listen to me, Parliament is doing its investigation. I, as a lawyer, have had problems with when you have clear-cut, what I call allegations of offenses, and you have enough to build, you go and do a separate investigation and don't go and discuss it in the public domain. The thing that comes to mind immediately was the Dagbon series.
Yeah.
When the Yana was killed and they did the committee, and they did the same thing with Ghana at 50. It becomes difficult to use that evidence in prosecution.
Absolutely, you can't.
So it means you are going to now start afresh. So when the thing already has a smell, let the only counter to that is when you have a situation where a country has lost faith in the investigative bodies, all they want now is for it to come out in the public domain because they have no faith that even if it is dealt with, there will be an outcome. So we have put in the public domain that 8 people died and were shot during an election. What has happened? Nothing. Owusu West Wagon, there was a white paper. What has happened? Nothing. So at least let us know. But the moment you say the police are doing an investigation, nobody can carry out or make comments on it, it becomes difficult. So even though that is the proper way to go, since people have come to the conclusion that nothing will happen, then better let's do the investigation. Let the Parliament come out. Let us at least know the facts. And for whatever value in terms of educating Ghanaians as to what is going on, that helps us more than saying this is the right way, do it, and then nobody hears anything, and also nobody too is prosecuted. And that is not
the invitation to the IGP, is it incidental to the outcomes that we are expected to have from the probe?
We don't know where that is going. And as a sitting IGP, I would have thought that his evidence is not at the level of the others who have been.
Absolutely.
His evidence should be in camera.
Yeah.
To start.
Absolutely.
Completely in camera, and then they take it from there. And I'm hoping that is the case. I don't know.
Okay.
But for him to come and be
subjected to public interrogation.
For me, there are certain national security concerns I have.
Yeah.
Because if you push him and he opens his mouth, trouble can come. Because he knows more than the average person, or even the people we are talking about, he knows more. So yes, if you want to see him in camera and let him give certain evidence, I'm clear. Unless the tape showed that he was involved or directly involved in some move to change election results. Because that is what that tape is about.
Okay.
And if he's not involved in that, then all other investigations should be dealt with in camera.
Right.
And then if there has to, it's a basis for interdiction of himself or whatever, that can be dealt with by the council or whatever.
Okay.
But it is not, for me, from the source, something that he should be called and also be given live evidence.
Yeah. Let me read a few messages and then I'll end with Solo. Senior Boham says, an NDC should craft political slogans that the citizens can relate to. In 2007, they came out with Working For You. 2012 was Idebi Keke. 2016 was Noah Baba. Say, oh, NDC. Master Solo, stop. You supported the Kufado and Bawumia throughout. But later on, you said they have no ideas again. If it is policy, didn't bring on board, so I don't know, it's not quite clear. And happened to forget it's been okay. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Julius Agaho Antairo in Asawasi says, Kerry, I want to appeal to the AC boss to please listen to the party's concerns, because doing the registration at the district offices will prevent lots of citizens from writing their names in the registration book, especially those in the villages. All right, thank you. Abudu K. Tamas says, good morning to you. Kindly greet my political dad for me, Honorable Alex Segbefia. He looks so cute in the northern smoke. Without any prejudice, okay, this is an essay, but you say that Bubu Nabu should be relinquished of his position as a chief. Let me tell you, one of the things for the removal of chiefs is not this one. Anyway, please. It's not a cause of matter affecting chieftaincy.
I mean, my problem with this leak tape is the indiscretion of the one that leaked the tape. And then those that made the determination that there has to be a parliamentary probe. They should have known that once someone feels he's already down, a police officer have gone to make discussions, private one, with Nabu. They didn't meant it to come to the public domain. Now it is there. So he knows that already he's down. So if I am down, definitely have to pull someone with me. They should have made that evaluation and know that, look, if you allow this public hearing into this matter, it will bring a lot of issues. I said, look, I listened to the team, and I felt the power to appoint the IGP did not lie with any of those that were making the It is a sole prerogative of the president in consultation with the Council of State. Now listen, if the president so decides today that he wants to fire the IGP, what can I do?
Nothing.
What can you do?
Nothing.
So this is lobbying gone bad. That Bugri Nabu claims is very close to the vice president, and vice president is the chair of the police council, and that they are looking for an IGP replacement. And so I am also searching.
Palace School.
They go and discuss, thinking that COP, what's the name, Mensa will get that position. Then it is leaked. Then the service should have conducted a service inquiry. You understand? And then deal with the matter backstage, rather than allowing them to go and sit in the public and bring the whole reputation of the Ghana Police Service into disrepute. Whether you like it or not, the IGP's image has been tarnished.
Absolutely.
They say he's mismanaging the Ghana Police Service. Whether or not it's true, me, I am not a police person. But you have a section of the public that will believe in the statement that has been made by COP Mensa, and others that will disagree. So did they help us or did not help us? You understand? There are some of the matters that the parliament itself will tell you, look, this is a serious matter, so you should go in camera. Does it mean that all that we are watching are not serious matters?
Yeah.
If you think are not serious matters, then why are you showing it to us? It makes nonsense of the whole public hearing. And it shouldn't have happened in the first place. I would plead that the IGP's issue must be in camera, as Honorable was saying. If possible, the police services must conduct a service inquiry into the matter behind the scenes.
They have pips, they have...
That is it. You understand? So that the country will be served and served better. In any case, whatever the IGP does, the police structure, he is directed by the police council. So if there is anything that is not going on well, it means the police council is the one not serving us properly, and not the IGP
Very well.
himself.
Thank you. Good morning, bro. Right, so let me say a special good morning to Nana Puku Ajiman. Nana Puku Ajiman, you are an ardent viewer of Pan-African television and a strong NDC member, aka member. Your nickname is member. Nana Puku Ajiman. No, good morning to you, Nana Puku.
We only greet you because you have touched on your head.
And good morning to Eric Nana Minta, aka Abino. You are also doing the watching this morning. A big thank you to you, Honorable Segbefia, for your time. Always a pleasure having you. And Solo, thank you very kindly. Loved your submission today. Splendid. Thank you. And thank you to you for spending your morning with me. My name is Kwame Owusu, so I can't thank you enough. And a big thank you to those who found the energy and time to also share their views with us on Facebook, text message, and on YouTube. I will be back on the screens again tomorrow. But for now, keep watching Pan-African television, because here is where we speak truth to power. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.